I'm the owner of OmoneyRecords. In terms of the sociology, Black Lives Matter and the elitist syndrome that we're observing from Trump and this capital ICE and Black Lives Matter and their taming of every race except for the white culture. The taming was supposed to be the Epstein and Trump files again. It's so unfair to the minority that Trump and Epstein and Maxwell and the white privilege was only like, you know, one person took the hit and then all the rest of the white jocks and shit didn't suffer. Again, during COVID, there was a lot of artists that died, but no jocks, no professional athletes, football, basketball, hockey, tennis, etc., where it was only artists. So on the cocaine steal or heroin steal or whatever that was, it snitched on the jocks in a different way with the politicians, and it's unfortunate. But when I look at this as a socialist, as an elitist, um, again, it's just a farm. You want to feed the farm with corn, milk, bread, water, wine, cocaine, marijuana, whatever, in their mindset of getting away with everything in their habitual lie that I'm pretty disappointed in the elitist thought process for Black Lives Matter, not because of me not liking black people. I've had black girlfriends and Mexican girlfriends and stuff like that. I'm not racist. I am a only child that was raised in a trailer park with minority. So when I name drop Quayman, Quadrin, Shamara, Lakeisha, Athena, Shantae, Nick, Dirty, Rome, Dante, Chris, when I go through my black family, and again, if you go through my live YouTube videos here on O Money Records, um, um, going through the scrapbook and stuff, you can see when I went to preschool or Head Start over off Fraser Avenue, every one of my friends in that process of Head Start was minority, was all black or Mexican, Asian, whatever. And again, I got Vietnamese friends, you know, Blackanese, Hmong, black, mixed. Um, I choreographed for the Hmong Club with Huyen at UW Madison. That was going to be a paid choreography gig um, with Huyen. She was the president of the Hmong Club and stuff like that, in which I didn't finish that due to a specific jealousy of the men, because Huyen, she's a pretty girl. She's a pretty, exterior pretty Vietnamese or Hmong female, and she hired me to choreograph to the Pussycat Dolls, Loosen Up My Buttons, or whatever it's called. And so when I talk to my minority friends, for the disruption of racism, for me starting a business just because my grandma had some money that my grandpa had busted his ass for. Again, he built the Dane County Coliseum, the Shed Aquarium, um, MATC Truex. He was a steel fabricator, a steel manufacturer. And so, um, in his hard work and blood, sweat, and tears of life, his 60-hour weeks, 50-hour weeks is what changed his wife, my grandma and grandpa, and their 5 kids, my aunts and uncles, um, for this. Um, but in terms of this racial disruption, it doesn't make sense to me mentally. I don't know what's wrong with Bloomberg, Rockefeller, the Buffett family, Dr. Dre, everybody, and whatever spar they're going through. Um, of whatever elitist chose the Black Lives Matter to send everybody back into their own congregations, into their own ethnicities over this racial disruption of financial, but again, um, financial gain or financial loss. Um, But I tried keeping it fair. I kept it real with T-Row, Kevin Gates, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, blacks, whites, etc. And knowing that it happened, um, to what the disruption caused the masses mentally, to what the true minority is, me, Quayman, Quadrin, you know, Lakeisha, Athena, Thaddeus, um, Dirty, Rome, Cookie, um, Dante, Chris, Cassandra, Holly. When I go through all my ghetto culture of name dropping to what Blood Pack was before Old Money, the first, rap group I was in, and then my buddy Jonathan Person, who I did ballet and stuff with, who was mixed, kind of like Misty, over at ABT. Um, in terms of the same style resume, street side to professional side, ballet, jazz, tap, modern, and then becoming a hip hop teacher, teaching, beginner and ballet and jazz and stuff. When I go through this disruption, it's disappointing because when I think about Crystal Brower and Lakeisha, Athena, Thaddeus, um, going through all of the parts of social dance and show choir and every other part of minority, you know, for as lucky as I am and as talented as I am, um, for the money that I was handing out freely to Tyrone and Kevin Gates and everything, you can't purchase love. You can't buy love. You can't force love. Street side. Um, but at the same time, to the respect I've had for years and years, the shit mentally doesn't make sense to where the TuneCore owner and taking my song down weirdo, even though I paid for it and I got the copyright and everything else. Again, I got Puerto Rican or Mexican and black and white, um, through all this stuff, of what that type of social disruption was. There's sociology, the social disruption of racism. Who do you blame? Tyrone? Who do you blame? Kevin Gates? Who do you blame? Owen, of OmoneyRecords, the white guy, the Mexican guy, the black guy. And so, whoever the owner of TuneCore is taking the song down, all you did was create this odd spar of, what you would call propaganda or what you would call economics of what that is. But when you push it back into that sociology of racism, all you guys did was send us back inbred, where the blacks are only mating with blacks, whites are only going to mate with whites, Asians only mate with Asians, Mexicans will only mate with Mexicans. That when you create that disruption of what that tension is, and again, you can see it street side. You can see the facial expressions of Paris Jackson, who doesn't know if she's black or white. Um, and when you create these social anxieties of that tension, where you don't want to mate with a cousin, a brother, or sister, and you got to think about stepping outside the culture, your own white skin, black skin, Mexican skin, dot dot Indian, woo woo Indian, etc., Native American or India, again, ethnicity, African American versus black, um, however you want to pronounce it in vocabulary. Again, is it poop or is it boo boo? Is it shit? Is it feces? Is it fecal matter? Um, is it bowel movement? Is it excrement? Shit is shit. Poop is poop. All those words technically mean the same thing, and they're still all in the same English language. And you will fight this every day of whether or not you say poop, boo boo, feces, fecal matter, shit, bowel movement, excrement. And again, it's the same thing, technically. Um, but for some reason, we can sit here and argue all day. If Republicans will say it's poop, Democrats will say it's boo boo. Um, you know, Democrats will say it's feces, Republicans will say it's excrement. And so you can argue all fucking day long who gets to win the word in the lawsuit. Well, it says excrement on this UMG contract. It says excrement on this Atlantic or Def Jam contract. Well, at the old Money Records contract, it says poop, boo boo, and shit. Um, you can argue all day long who gets to decide if poop smells or not. And it smells, you know. You got to turn the fart fan on. You gotta do a courtesy flush once the first turd hits the toilet water. You gotta flush it. You gotta get that turd down. You want to be a gentleman about it. And so, whatever this disruption is of that, again, when I think about all my show choir friends and social dance friends of what an ego is versus just talent, this is where I get depressed in a different type of way. And it's not depression of what an ego should be, of what talent is versus academic. And when you're talented, when you can keep a beat, when you can keep a beat versus somebody that's offbeat. When you can't keep a beat, I can't help that I'm naturally talented, and natural is what they call it. And so, in those weird things of the Owen show, what some of my friends in show choir social dance would call the Owen show, just because I was an overachiever and I would dedicate 45 hours a week instead of just 40 hours a week towards dance or singing and songwriting, poetry, etc. That I don't want to have to feel guilt in some way, but going to Atlantic and saying, hey Shay, you can have this one. I think I just found one from Shady, or found one from Death Row or Aftermath or Strange Music. Well, why do you even need any of those record deals when you own your own company? I don't. I was just a company owner that was out flying around the country, California, and checking other different business ventures, meeting people at the bar, drinking, and deciding if I could get some overhead to keep my business established. Needing overhead versus using my grandma's money. And again, I'm not name dropping with Quinetri or Lakeisha Athena or Crystal Brower in terms of needing black girlfriends or mixed girlfriends to come save me. No, but they know me. They know me street side, at least for Wisconsin street side. And again, my East High School friends, didn't know I was driving back and forth down to Broadhead, Wisconsin every weekend during my junior and senior year of high school. And I was in a band called Flat Tire, and we performed at homecoming for Broadhead. I had I had two girlfriends down in Broadhead too, at Broadhead High School. And we performed, um, Hanging by a Moment from Lifehouse and Pour Some Sugar on Me from Def Leppard and Blink 182's The Rock Show or whatever. Um, so, in some of that stuff, not only was I a skateboarder, but I was a ballet dancer, jazz, tap, modern hip hop for, 3.5 years in high school. I went to, Westside Performing Arts, then to Virginia Davis, and then to Monona Academy of Dance in terms of ballet, jazz, tap training. And I became a hip hop teacher my junior year because that's where my talent was. That's what put me into dance. I'm basically a Wade Robson type of talent prodigy that still tried to go and get the degree academically in terms of training. And then became a singer songwriter, um, uh, videographer, photographer, and video production, um, artist, and sound engineer. And I'm still going to go to school. I plan on just getting a couple pieces of paper. I don't know if I'll get the full associates or bachelor's or BA or um, science, but I plan on getting a couple pieces of paper for at least playing piano and video production from Interlochen or Juilliard or something here in the future, at least to proclaim my business as a step above in that professionalism, um, to at least assist the LLC and trademark and again, it probably won't be associates or bachelor. Um, I'm not academically smart enough to obtain that. I'm just a Wade Robson talent prodigy, in a different specific where I was lucky enough to have a hit record called Weirdo when I started my first business. And, when you choose the beat from the producer, DJ Payne 1, and stuff like that, obviously it was, you have producer and you have executive producer. I was more executive producer when you explain it politically. And so, Andy's version of an interview of what a mystery is for Nardward or the Oprah Show or Ellen DeGeneres or TMZ. When you step out into this venture into the world, you try and decide whether or not, as an independent or as a major, going into Def Jam, Atlantic, or Motown or Capitol Records, versus just doing stuff with Shady, Death Row, Cash Money that are independent majors. Because again, Cash Money's up there on MTV, BET, etc., or Rockefeller, with Jay Z and them. Um, that out, when I had left, I didn't go out to steal the $1 million check. I still haven't gotten $1 million check. I'm not lying. I've gone 1 year without electricity. My grandma and mom have passed away, and I'm trying to find my family. Trying to find a family right now, whether it's blacks, Mexicans, Vietnamese, Japanese, Chinese, uh, Indian, or Native American. I'm a minority because I'm an only child. I didn't have a dad or brother or sister to keep me racist on the white side specifically, and some type of prejudice or biased. I just was raised in a hardworking family, and so this is the first time I've hit rock bottom in a different way. Um, and now I'm watching the system. Not only then did quote unquote rich gang or Cash Money beat me up in the public persona, which is just business money, um, and economics with lawyers and shit, but to be beat up deep state side now with this false foreclosure, false foreclosure from the state side of what equity is versus mortgage. Equity is asset, and a mortgage would be debt to the foreclosure. And so as I watch some of these attempts deep state side, shutting off food stamps early, 3 months of malnutrition, attempted manslaughter, um, business managers stealing my debit card so I'd have to walk home, um, in the freezing cold, um, at Arby's and stuff like that, habitually lying on another side of, where whoever hacked my computer in this bunk police state side, um, and some old man perversions or police perversions, that they're beating me up in some type of retaliation, which is technically domestic abuse on those women that they hacked my computer to see, or then to steal the password so they could steal my TuneCore money. I got 3.14 million streams on my TuneCore. I just got back into it due to fraudulent behavior. Whether it's the black side, white side, Mexicans, I don't know who stole the money out of TuneCore, but I have 3.14 million streams, and on that side of it, I don't know what that amount of money would equivalent to, but there's only $800 left in the TuneCore account from whoever was stealing it. And when you go back through the scientific facts of did I withdraw money from CCU, CUNA Credit Union, that was attached to, or my PayPal or anything, no, I didn't. And so in terms of royalties and some of that stuff going through some of this internet corruption, another deep state bullying abuse, Facebook corruption, giving my DGO money, name and page away. Um, some of the stuff I can't quite solve, that sociology problem, just because I unfollowed people. Again, social media is just a tool. It's just a tool like the contacts in your cell phone. You press the contacts button, contacts, you have a list of friends. That's Facebook. Your contacts button in your Facebook is a list of friends. Your contacts button in your cell phone, sorry, your contacts button in your cell phone is a Facebook. It's a list of friends. Facebook has a bunch of contacts. It's a list of friends. Social media is just a tool. I could always open up a notebook and I can write down Shante Hoof, Nick Carter, you know, Quayman Wilson, Quadrin Wilson, Mark Wagner, whoever. And they're not my friends or they are my friends. I don't know who Mark Wagner is. I don't know why he shot Quadrin. But in terms of contacts, you could write it down in a notebook and you can delete every contact in your cell phone. You can delete every contact on Facebook because contacts in your cell phone is just a tool for memorizing phone numbers. Facebook is just a social media tool that has contacts for you to get a hold of digitally in text messages. And for some reason, whatever perverts out there, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Rockefeller, whoever has oversight federal government side, when I unfollowed people, catching specific men being predatory of specific females, some that are asleep versus awoke to whatever that trafficking ring was with Trump and Epstein and Maxwell for either body part sales or racketeering money or employee to employer abuses at training in a possessive state of mind where they possess over specific human beings in an employer market, um, premeditating who you work for in the future and the past. I definitely met the dictatorship of a racketeering trafficking ring that is in the middle of defamations and police brutality and street side info share brutality, which I did not expect at faming, but for it to be matched in timing with Taylor Swift releasing her little album July 23rd at midnight, which is the 24th, July 24th, my birthday, in the specific helps from Lauren Taft, who I wanted to hire as a muse and model for a music video. Um, and then to the street side blessing of street side females communicating with Lil Wayne or Dr. Dre or Birdman and them saying, I should have been allowed into fame without this prejudice, biased defamations of jealousy. And because I have friends that are pretty girls or because they knew I was talented in high school, whatever that was, has nothing to do with racism. I didn't screw anybody over technically in terms of T-Rone, Kevin Gates, or anything else. I can't figure out what this biased control feature is of economics, but when I think about it in sociology, to the point I'm getting to this video, when I think about it in sociology, to being a minority with my Vietnamese friends, again, I choreographed for the Hmong Club at UW-Madison, you know, and again, my friend Huyen was Vietnamese. Again, I never quote unquote finished the project due to jealousy. When I worked for Hurling Construction or Thermofoam Solutions, spray foam insulation and construction, building houses. I've built houses from 2,000 square feet up to 11,000 square feet. Um, from $200,000 house up to a $9 million house. And so through those things, when I was 21, I bought a truck, uh, you know, a newer F1 or F250 diesel, and for some reason, when I was driving around with a $100,000 brand new uh, plural component proportioner spray foam rig, which is isocyanate and resin handling for spray foam, closed cell, open cell, and polyurea. That when you're 21 years old driving around in a new F250 with $100,000 worth of equipment behind you, which is again a plural component proportioner that sprays isocyanate and resin and manufactures spray foam on site, whether it's open cell or closed cell, which is an insulation as well as cellulose dense pack, um, obtaining perm values for air infiltration at R value. Um, that in the parts of my degree, for how hard I've worked as an overachiever, I hit jealousy in the contractors market. And then, I went to school to get heavy machinery license in my Class A CDL, which is, doubles, triples, and hazmat with a bobcat, or, a semi. They call it a bobcat. The front part of a semi is just the bobcat that pulls the trailers. Um, and again, I got my Class A CDL that pulls doubles, triples, and hazmat. Now, I lost that due to marijuana use, um, in that process, being corrupted in a marijuana smoker, marijuana enthusiast, to what legalities are that defines our state and our driving records, at Keep It Real. But each one of these paths I've gone to, whether it was a Class A CDL, being able to drive doubles, triples, hazmat, I got one of the best driving records in my class in terms of, backing up a semi and not crashing one, uh, quad axles and etc. Um, and then I hit jealousy and spray foam and construction because I was 21 years old driving around a newer F-250 and with $100,000 spray foam rig behind me. I hit jealousy with the contractors around me. Um, and then I stepped into music, um, having a hit record when I first started my business, hitting jealousy around me, and then being able to teach hip hop, beginner ballet, and beginner jazz at Lowell Elementary, Emerson Elementary, um, stuff like that, Sherwood Elementary. Um, and then, again, I taught hip hop at Monona, Fitchburg, and some prairie locations, um, without even having a degree because, again, I'm a prodigy dancer like Wade Robson, which, again, I'm not showcasing on Instagram right now because I want to get paid for it. I don't want to do it for free for follows and likes. It helps you get exposure, but once you get addicted to seeing yourself on the screen, you forget what you're doing to get paid. And again, you don't want everybody seeing your choreography out in public when you're choreographing a world tour. And so, and whatever defamations or jealousy I just hit with Mark Zuckerberg and some of them on that side, I can't tell you what they're seeing in Facebook messages in terms of titty pictures, pussy pictures, and some of that stuff. But the racism per side, or the judgment or the possessiveness of specific females and predatory behavior, it happened. When I look at this as a man's perspective, girls I was flirting with after the breakup of the baby mama and the mother of my child, there's something with this sociology that the Rockefeller, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, the nerd gang, Elon, whoever it is, they don't have right. And when I look at it as a minority, as an only child, having black friends, mixed friends, dot dot Indian, woo woo Indian, Vietnamese, Blackanese, all the different friends and the different ethnicities, the different cultures that I have, I'm a little concerned that whoever our elitist is, that they're about 50 years, 75 years behind what our sociology would be. If you were to talk to me and Quayman, or you know, me and Athena, Lakeisha, Crystal Brower, um, of my friends group in my mixed minority, or Huyen, Uyen, Tu, Fu, and Lee, with my Asian Hmong and Vietnamese and culture, um, that when I go through my resume of, again, teaching for the Hmong Club and everything else, because they choose me because I'm good with my minority friends. And so to Huyen, Huyen, if you're listening out there, paying attention to my page, I hit this odd jealousy. Again, the same thing that happened when I was choreographing buttons to Pussycat Dolls, when when we were doing that performance for the Hmong Club at UW Madison. I can't figure out what the hell's going on the sociology side. the social mental state of communications without there being some jealousy that I'm the choreographer or you're the choreographer or you get to sing or I get to sing on who gets to perform on Coachella stage or Lollapalooza or Woodstock or MTV or BET. But in terms of good business, of allowing other people to go first, being a gentleman. Again, the gentleman's rule of thumb in the delegations is ladies first. It doesn't matter if she's Mexican, black, white, etc. It's always ladies first, and then loyalty, the time you put in. So again, Shay gets to go first. Um, in terms of me being a music label owner. Now, in terms of my ego, who's not to say she doesn't have plugs to Atlantic or to Cash Money or whatever? That would be my ego speaking it. Why does Shay get to go first? Why don't you go? Are you trying to make money off Shay or Nick or Smurf or Leila or whoever? No, it's just business. I don't care who shares the limelight of the stage. Inevitably, we're all gonna want to. Inevitably, we're all gonna want to perform on stage. And again, there's a performance every year. You just can't give up. But eventually you'll be on Lollapalooza stage. Eventually you'll be on Coachella stage. But if you stop working, if you just sit and stare at the TV, then you'll just be staring at the people who perform on the stage. And you got to put in that work. So whatever this sociology was to the elitists and this capitalize and everything else that they were just doing to punish everybody, only one person, three people took it for the team: Trump, Epstein, and Maxwell in the white culture. And I don't think that's fair. I caught a racketeering trafficking ring with some hockey jocks too. Ryan Suter, Ryan Beck, Davenport's, in terms of employer to employee and sex trafficking using employee powers. And it's not fair to me to be beat up by my black family, my Mexican family, and my Hmong family, which again, they didn't beat me up physically, but I'm just conducting my communication here, um, and trying to find family without being vulnerable of what leveling up as a man is as an independent person, without being able to find a place to lay my head, and kind of reasons I had to give up custody to my daughter because whatever that jock culture is, whatever that possessiveness is, whatever that employee power is, whatever that jealousy is, I can't defeat it when I have a pretty girlfriend, whether it was Huyen, who was just a friend at the Hmong Club. And if Huyen remembers, like those men were jealous just because Huyen hired me to choreograph. And when me and Huyen would like have chemistry and we'd flirt when I was choreographing buttons, some of the men in class, they would they would get jealous. Or in social dance, if me and Crystal Brower were dancing, she choreographed, and again, credit where credit's due, she choreographed Aaliyah's Try Again. And she invited me to be in her dance. She just wanted a good dancer. And so again, I'd jump in her dance for 10 minutes or 5 minutes for Aaliyah's Try Again, and it was her choreography. It didn't matter to me who was choreographing. Let's just go out and have some fun, whatever. But it was Crystal Brower's Priest. Again, credit where credit's due. And on this side of it, I can't figure out where this damn defamations and jealousy is. But if I talk to Crystal Brower about it, when we talk about Fatima and, our communication, street side, plug side of what memories would be. Again, I named my daughter after Aaliyah. But if I was talking to Crystal Brower again about it, she knows the freaking jealousy of what it was when we were doing Try Again. And that's her piece. And again, I did Michael Jackson's Threatened or Justin Timberlake's Like I Love You or whatever else in terms of choreography, stolen choreography, new choreography, music video choreography, or whatever. Just for performance value for some kids to have some fun and enjoy themselves. And for some reason, like I said, if I talk to Crystal Brower about it or Huyen about it, Crystal's mixed, Huyen's, Vietnamese or Hmong. And so when I talk to my girlfriend's side about it, of the choreography bit, I can't figure out where this damn jealousy is. Like, I keep offering, here, you can have this record deal first, here, you can have the stage time first. I just want to shoot the music video. Like I went from being the famous person in high school to now like I'm shooting the music videos. I'm a videographer, choreographer, sound engineer. You know, I leveled up to help you guys become more famous. I got bored as hell performing for doing this for years. And it sounds egotistical. And then, they pretty much all dropped back and they said, well, if you're so good at singing and dancing, go do it yourself. And I said, okay, well, it's not my ego, but if you want me to lead by example, sure, I'll go pay for some features with Kevin Gates and T-Rone and hang out with some other celebrity friends and then show you guys what it takes. And it's like as soon as I stepped out into that market, it's like what happened with me and Crystal Brower, or me and Hu Yen, or me and Brandon Rice in each category. Crystal Brower's a mixed girl, heterosexual. Huyen's heterosexual Vietnamese, Brandon Rice is LGBTQ, and it didn't matter which road I stepped on, or Brandon Rice or Crystal Brower or Huyen, every time I've stepped into a different category of where my talent resides, I hit this odd ass jealousy where I don't want to say it lands me in death threats, but me and Huyen, you know, in the political side of don't kiss and tell, me and Huyen, we never kissed, hand job, blow job, had sex or anything. Me and Crystal Brower, we never cheated, sex, hand job, blow job, sex or anything. I can't figure out when I'm being humble and not having sex and finding these weird jealousy issues within the crowd, within dancers, within singers-songwriters, that I either lead by example and they say, hey, you know, if you're so good at being a music engineer or company owner, lead by example, show us you can get us to a record deal. Okay, fly out to Atlantic, go hang out with Shady, hang out with Cash Money. Okay, I reached it. Why doesn't anybody believe me? And then as soon as I reached it, again, as soon as I started choreographing for the Hmong Club, as soon as Crystal started choreographing for Try Again, it's like I reached it. Crystal's the Cash Money version, Hu Yen's the Shady version, whatever you want to look at it as in perspective. As soon as I reached it, people didn't believe it. And so now it's performance time. It's performance time. And all of a sudden they gave my page away and took my song down, and my privacy was infringed on my computer, and I can't figure out where that jealousy is coming from. So if I was to talk to Hu Yan and Crystal Brower back from show choir and social dance, that's just high school. If I was to talk to Joe Jean or Sharon Butler or Tanya or Jason Sisler and Nicole Sisler, my dance teachers with ballet, jazz, tap, pas de deux, Karen Smith English, if I was to go through the delegations of my teachers, every time I want to do my own piece, I hit this weird jealousy. Jason and Nicole can do their own piece. Karen Smith English can do her own piece. Tanya can do her own piece. Jolene Leonard can do her own piece. It's like every time I get the chance to show off and do my own piece, I hit this odd ass jealousy. I just cannot figure this shit out for the life of me. So, back to the point of the video of the sociology, I'm not mad Black Lives Matter happened. I think white people sell oil. I think we make lots of money in the Builders Association. I think that's the white privilege. I think the blacks want to sell cocaine and heroin. They're out driving their cars and selling drugs and bringing marijuana and cocaine and ecstasy and heroin to your house. I'm not saying they don't want to be good people, but whatever we've culturized in the institution in this military industrial complex, they just want to be able to racketeer legally just like the white man does with oil and the Builders Association. And I think we need to legalize that and change it, because whatever this damn disruption is, sending all the blacks back to black, Mexicans back to Mexican, Asians back to Asian, that isn't helping the minority of mixed people, blackanese, whitenese, white Mexican, black Mexican. It's not helping the minority feel comfortable at what inbreeding would be. And the majority of what's going to overrule to what that tension is of mating purposes and true love versus tricking each other for money at a divorce or tariffs or whatever it is. I don't think that world should exist. I don't think it should exist. Again, if I was talking to Crystal Brower, she's mixed. She's a choreographer. And credit where credit's due, when she choreographed Aaliyah's Try It Again in our, social dance class or whatever. Whatever that jealousy is, like when I dance with Crystal, and you watch your friends around, you get jealous that Owen and Crystal were dancing and having fun or whatever. Whatever that jealousy is it one person or is it two? Well, it's the ones that are having the most fun. So when I'm explaining it, it's the ones that are having the most fun. Owen and Brandon, Owen and Crystal, Owen and Thaddeus and Austin. That's my perspective from the high school level. Or if I was down in Broadhead, technically it'd be Brandon Jensen and Steve and Ed. When we did the rock show and Life Houses Hanging by a Moment. And again, I was just a backup singer with a girlfriend, Signe. When we're doing our dancing, our little dancing as backup singers, again, to Life Houses Hanging by a Moment, Blink 182's rock show, and then Pour Some Sugar on Me to Def Leppard, or when we did Falls on Me, and then I'm Already There, Amazed from Lone Star at Graduation, and Untitled from Simple Plan, because that one gay kid committed suicide down in Broadhead, if anybody remembers that, down by the Sugar River or whatever it was. Again, to Brandon Jensen, Preston, Signe, Steve, Andy, Alex. When I'm going through these delegations of memories to what I achieved with Nick Fox and Deb Fox when we choreographed Usher's Caught Up. Me and Nick Fox choreographed Usher's Caught Up. It was technically his piece, but I got paid $200 to go down there and assist Nick Fox. And Deb Fox, she was the show choir teacher, and I got paid $200 to go down and assist Nick Fox in choreography for Usher's Caught Up, which was like a quarter or a half of my choreography from this Mace track called Breathe, Stretch, Shake, Let It Go, from Mace, choreography that I did years and years ago. But talking to Deb Fox and Nick and Steve Fox and Scotty and Andy and Alex down in Broadhead, when we did Caught Up to Usher for the show choir, from talking to Megan Masterson or to Robin Rundle and any of my old friends from Broadhead, whatever just happened, it was one of the most interesting experiences, both digitally, economically, in premeditation or Ponzi schemes, to the corruption of the system, to have to pay lawyers to fix everything and go through this odd-ass process of being broke and defining what premeditation is, of just some pure hate crimes, where in my stupidity, in my ignorance, in arrogance, society, I definitely am disappointed in the sociology of the elitists. I'm disappointed in the sociology of the president and this capital ICE and punishing the Mexicans and everything else, when it sure looks like a bunch of white privileged girls out in LA are all coked out, like they send these or somebody else to go out and steal a bunch of fucking cocaine and heroin in some weird way of what's right and wrong, to the street side money, to where I couldn't get my overhead investment check from Birdman, cash money. I couldn't get my overhead investment check from Shady, and my invite out to Capitol, and whether or not I go talk to Death Row or Rockefeller or Atlantic and everything else, as they keep dangling the keys in front of me, I can't find the gentleman that's assisting in the turnover. I apologize, public. I just took a piss off my porch. I just took a piss off my porch. um, I live out in the woods, by the way. I'm not quite a redneck. Again, I'm a minority, but going out to get my investment check to get that overhead, I'm strictly disappointed in what the minority is. Whatever beef Eminem and Jay and Bird and whatever y'all have on business side to actually assisting the kids for the turnover. You got freshman, sophomore, junior, senior class of school academically and music. And right now, Taylor Swift, Eminem, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Drake, Jay-Z, you guys are at senior class. I'm just entering into the freshman class side. And for some reason, you guys are looking like the jealous ones over the freshmen. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, I can't figure out what sociology y'all doing, but y'all just created some weird ass tension on the street side, low end, that shouldn't exist. I have no beef with Kevin Gates or T-Rone, anybody on the fresh Jay-Z. They hopped out with music to be murdered, destroyed me, and sociology.